Hi there, Stampers. It's Linda Schmitt with Stampin' with the Hounds. Today I have a fun fold to show you. These are called the Never Ending card, or like an infinity card. So basically you just kind of flip through and then it brings it back to the front. Now these have been around for quite some time, and the original sizing was like an actual 6x6 card. So these are kind of harder. Again, it would be extra postage because you would need, anytime an item is square, the post office tends to charge you more. So if it was rectangular, it would hopefully wouldn't be as much, but the square ones do cost more. But this was the first one I did, and this is actually for my boyfriend, Jeff. So, and again, we have greyhounds, so of course I had to do a greyhound theme. But this one, again, is at 6x6, so it's quite a bit larger. And I do like the 6x6 because you've got a little bit more real estate for your stamped images on it, so that's kind of fun. So that was the 6x6, and then I started playing around. So I found some tutorials online, and these are like your standard A2. Now the pink one, I think this is the one that was a little bit, I think this was only 4 going across. Yeah, this one was 4 going across by, I think it was still 5.5. Yeah, by 5.5. So a little bit narrower, and then this one was a standard 4. I think this was just a standard 4.25. Yeah, 4.25. But on this one, I did struggle more with this size. One, I don't have a lot of small stamps, so if you notice here, I had to cut it. And then the measurements, sometimes for me, the ruler can be hard. I'm like, it was a lot of 16ths and 8ths, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you really got to be on top of your game when you're measuring. But this is the A2. So again, a lot of times I had to cut that centerpiece in half. And so this one I used a lot of that Sunny Days, the celebration items from the 2024 celebration from Stampin' Up. So that's an A2. This is another one, again, using some of the celebration stamps and then some of the new products from the mini catalog. So again, this was at A2. And then you notice you do see from view 2, you do see view 3. So here, I mean, actually it worked out okay, but you want to make sure whatever you put on this view doesn't, kind of get in the way of when you're flipping through, when you're in view 2 on it. So like I said, I kind of struggled more with this size. So then what I decided to do, because I didn't want it to be so much of a square. Well, I did do a square. So instead of doing a 6x6, this one is 5x5. So at least now I can put it in a A7 envelope, which is like, it holds a 5x7 card. So you've got a little bit of, space on the side, but at least the height wise, you're not paying more for postage. So this is 5x5. And again, a little bit more real estate. This is like a 2.25 inch square. So I found this was a little bit easier, and the dimensions, and when you're cutting all your paper, were easier to do. So again, so see how that you can see view 3 from view 2. So if you're going to decorate, just kind of be aware of what you're doing on that second view, because you're going to see it in the third view. Or sorry, vice versa. From the third view, you'll see from the second view. Then again, I cut that cherry. So I taped it on one side, and then I just snipped it, kind of along the edge, and then glued the other piece on there. So you can still do stuff. You're just going to have to cut it. So that's view 3. And then here's view 4. And then again, you have room on this. And what I like about these is you can mix and match what you want to do, whether it's designer series paper or cardstock. It's a great way of using up your scrap. So that's 5x5. I'm going to show you how to do this 5x5 one today. And then the other one is going to be an A7, which I really didn't see a lot of people doing this one. I did find, so I found, I think I'd have to look through my YouTube history to find, give credit to the lady who designed this size. So this is an A7, so it's a 5x7 piece of cardstock. And then again, a lot more real estate, so you can do kind of, bigger images. And again, I'm still kind of cutting widthwise. If I need to do something, I still cut that image in half. So that's view 1, and this is using that Sunny Days and then Sweetest Cherries stamp set and bundle. And then I'm also using a little bit from the Share a Milkshake on there. So there's view 2, or I'm sorry, view 1 after the front. So then again, you can kind of see view 3. And then again, I took that friend and I cut it in half. And then view 4 is kind of your back, and you can have room for your stamping or your writing your sentiment. and then you go back to the front. So it looks really intimidating, but it's actually, it goes together pretty quick. So the worst part is just it's cutting all these pieces. So we're going to get started. So again, I'm going to show you the 5x7 size, and I'm going to show you the 5x5 today. So we're going to start with the 5x7. So for the 5x7, you're basically taking a piece of cardstock, 2 pieces of cardstock. And I tend to do 2 different colors. You can certainly do 1, but I just found for the video, it was a little bit easier if I showed you the 2 different colors. So you're going to have a bottom piece and a top piece. So these are both 5x7. The one that you want on the top, so whatever it's going to be, so this is, again, Flirty Flamingo was my top, and then Real Red was my bottom for the cardstock. So whatever you want for the top, you're going to take that 5x7 piece, you're going to cut vertically in half. So half of 5 is 2.5. So it's going to be, you're going to end up with 2 pieces that are 2.5 by 5. You're then going to take those pieces and you're going to score at 1 3/4 from each end on that. So you do that on both of your top pieces. So again, it's going to be 1 3/4 from each end on those. So that's your top. Your bottom piece, again, was a 5x7 piece of cardstock that we cut in half horizontally so that you're getting 2 pieces that are 3.5 by 5. Now these pieces, you're going to score at 1 1/4 from each end on both of these. Okay, so those are your pieces. And then I'm going to show you how to assemble it. We're going to do that now. And then once you get done, you're going to have, and this is like where I put this part together first, and then I go through and I decide what I want to do for my pieces for each one. I kind of do step by step as I'm picking my papers and cutting them to do it. So you're really going to need, for like your designer series papers, like 2 to 4 different patterns, because again, you can use the front and back on a lot of them. So I'm going to be featuring the Lighter Than Air designer series paper that is in the mini catalog. So this one has a lot of pastel colors. It has that coordinating hot air balloon die and stamp set, which I don't have. I just got the paper. So the paper, you really don't need the die or the stamp set. The paper's pretty universal to use a lot for like birthday and spring on it. So we're going to be using that. And again, I'm trying to use my pastel colors. I'm not always a pastel person, so trying to use these up. So we're going to get started. So again, I've already cut my 2 pieces. So my bottom one is going to be those 2 pieces that were 3.5 by 5. They've already been scored at 1 1/4 from each end. So I've already done that. And then these were going to be my top pieces. So these were the 2.5 by 5. And they've already been scored at 1 3/4 from each end. So that part's already done. So I'm going to show you how to put it together. So you first want to take your pieces and you want to make sure as you're folding them together that they are lined up properly, because if anything is off, it's going to affect the mechanism as you go through. So you were going to fold back and forth on both sides because it's going to be opening and closing different ways each time. So you'll do that on both of these pieces. Again, making sure bringing it together and then folding back on the other one. And the other thing too, you want to make sure both of these pieces match up, exactly. Because if anything is off just a titch, it will affect the mechanism. So just make sure those are all lined up. Now these were the 3.5 by 5. So again, I'm going to fold on both ends because I've already scored them. And making sure those kind of come in together. All right. So now what I like to do is these, again, are the bottom pieces. These are going to be your top. So I like to line these up together because I'm going to show you, because we need to put our adhesive in only certain spots so it doesn't affect the thing. So I line them up so that I can see where this score line is, because I want to make sure that when I'm putting my tape on this bottom piece that it's not going beyond where that score line is or where this score line is. So your adhesive is only going to be going on right on here. You're only putting adhesive here, 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 and here. So the top and the bottom pieces on those bottom pieces. All right. So, and what I like to use, just because you want to make sure that this is really being held together well, is the tear and tape. So I'm going to take my tear and tape, and again, I'm just going to get these out of the way so I can see this a little bit better. So I'm only going to put tape on this piece. I'm just going to rotate it because it makes it a little bit easier for me to attach this. All right, so there's the top, and then we're also going to put it on the opposite side. On there. So then again, when you're looking at it, you just want to make sure that your tape isn't going beyond that score line and it's not going beyond that one. So you'll do that for that piece. And then the other piece, you're going to put the tape down here only. So again, I like to use this as a guide so that I know I can only keep my tape right in this area. That's that one, and then we'll do the opposite side. So again, I just bring this in as a guide so I can see how far up to put my tape. Okay, so now those are done. So now we're going to assemble this. So again, these are the bottom. These are the top. You can work either side, whatever one you would do. I'm going to start with my left side first. And this is another, you want to make sure that you are keeping everything aligned. So I like to use just a little bit of low tack tape. I'm just going to hold these two bottom pieces together so that as I'm attaching this, these aren't shifting around and I'm keeping everything aligned. So we're going to remove our adhesive, and I'm just looking for my pick tool. Oh, here it is. Love our pick tool. I have like 3 of them. I feel like I need to have more because they're always, I'm using them all the time and then I misplace it. And so we're going to remove this. I'm going to start with just removing just the top one. And then what I want to do is I want to make sure that these are aligned perfectly along the side and at the top. And then I'm just going to rotate it just because it's a little bit easier for me to maneuver. Again, we're going to remove the tape off of here. And then again, making sure these pieces are aligned on the side and at the top. And if anything is off, now is the time to do any type of trimming. So that looks pretty good. It's all lined up. So that's my one side. So now since I've got this attached, I can remove my low tack tape here from the center. It was just holding that temporarily. All right, so now we're going to attach our other side. So again, same thing. We're going to remove the tear and tape from one side, and then you want to make sure, now again here, this is where you want to make sure your pieces are lined up next to each other. They're on the edge. It's against the top. It's butted up against the other front piece. Oh, sorry, this is a little bit, I gotta get my head in here so I can see what I'm doing. And I may, now that I look at this, I might need to trim just a titch off of this one side, but we'll see. Yeah, a little bit. You can see how that overlaps just a titch. So before I tape all of that down, well, maybe I will. I'll just tape it down and then we'll just trim it manually. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so we're going to take this one off now. Okay, so then again, making sure these are lined up, and I know that I'm off just a titch, so I'm gonna just manually trim. Let's see. Oh, it's not too bad. Maybe I'll be okay. So then what I do is I kind of just practice going through. So that's opening up well, and then this is going to flip back. So that's working. This comes out, and then you're back to the front. So that's it for putting it together. I mean, it's super fun, super easy. Okay, so now we're going to decorate. So again, like I said, look through, I go view by view when I'm trying to figure out what I want to do for my papers. So basically, these two panels are going to be two of them that are cut at 2 1/4 by 3 1/4. So that's going to be two of them. And really you'll use these. So you'll need two of those. You'll need two more for the second view. 1, 2, so 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you'll need 8 of them in total. But again, I change up what I'm doing for my papers or my patterns. I can do cardstock. So we'll do, I gotta make sure these are going the right way. And I will say, when you are cutting these papers, you want to keep in mind, oh, that's still off. There we go. That your pattern is going to continue on to that second panel. So when you go to cut, just pay attention that when you put them side by side again, that when you put them together, it's going to look continuous. It won't be wonky looking. So again, we'll put 2 of those there. And then you're going to need 4 of these, and these are 2 1/4 by 1 1/2. So I'm going to do 4 on the front, and then we'll also need them. I think those are the only ones. Yeah, those are the only ones. So you only need 4 of those. So we'll go ahead and adhere these on now. So like I said, so I kind of start off. I find, I pick out, 2 to 3 papers. And then I just work from view to view. Because I found if I pre-cut everything, a lot of times I was like, well, you know what? I think I'm going to change this. I'm going to stamp something instead of using pattern paper. So that's why I just tend to I cut as I go on it. But all right, so those are the center. And then these we're just going to go on here. So this is just the back side of that rainbow paper. So again, another fun fold that shows off both sides of your paper, which you guys know I'm a fan of using up my designer series paper. All right, so then I had decided I was going to do, this is from the Share a Milkshake stamp set, and the dies that kind of coordinate with it. I used this in my previous video, but I just got this this set. I don't know why it took so long sometimes to buy things, but it is a fun set, and it's great for like I said, Valentine's and birthdays. So I'm going to real quick just adhere my images on here. And this is a pretty, whenever I'm using my glass mat, I do like to use my silicone or craft mat, just because when you're working with adhesive, it doesn't stick to this the silicone. Yeah, so this is that little waffle weave kind of die that cuts out. And oh my gosh, there was all these little pieces that it cuts out. So I'm thinking, oh, I'm going to use those to make shaker bits. So that's another thing too. So when you cut it out, you just keep those little squares, and that way you can use them for your shaker cards as fillers. And then I just wipe it off. So this is that little washcloth that comes with the glass mat. So the glass mat from Stampin' Up! Is something that you can earn for free if you sign up as a demonstrator this month. So it's one of the many perks of being a demonstrator is we got to pre-order these as well. So anyway, so then I made my little ice cream cone already. And so this is with the pecan pie. I did balmy blue, lemon lolly, and fresh freesia for my inks. And then I just die cut it out. And then the cherry was flirty flamingo. So this is a pretty, and what's nice about this card, you can, use your embellishments and a little bit of a bulk, I guess, because a lot of times it's going to be protected. Now, again, if you went really, really thick, you would have to pay extra postage if it goes over the weight limit. But this one is still fairly flat. So I just have one little dimensional on the cherry. But I'm going to go ahead, and since this is kind of a bigger die cut, I am going to use my tear and tape just to run it down the center here, just to hold it in place a little bit better. And then the other thing, as you're designing these, like I said, look through your stamp sets, kind of pick out your papers, and then decide what will fit, in these panels. Because that's where I struggled with the smaller size, because a lot of my stamps are big. I just don't have a lot of little stamps. So we're gonna have this kind of be off to the side a little bit, making sure it's not in the way of anything. Okay, so that's my front. Now we're going to switch to what I call the view 2. So from here, you can see this paper. So a lot of times I put this paper down first from view 3 so that then I know what I can do on the view 2. So I'm just going to go ahead and put these down. So I had chosen, these are from still that same pack, Lighter Than Air. And this is the fresh freesia. So it looks like this is all lined up. So I'm going to go ahead and tape this one down first. And then I'll go back to view 2 to decorate it. Yeah, making the fun fold isn't hard. It's, the time-consuming part is decorating each of the views. All right, so then I'm going to flip back to view 2. Okay, so now I know I've got that there. So on my view 2, you're going to need, again, 2 of those pieces that were the 2 1/4 by 3 1/4. And this time around, I'm doing 1 as pattern paper and I'm doing 1 as cardstock because I want to stamp something on here. And then this is optional. You don't have to decorate these top or the 4 corners, but if you do, this is going to be 1 by 1 1/2 and you need 4 of them. So I am using the back side. I'm going to show off this other pattern, and I'm just making sure, yep, okay. So we're going to do this one in the upper left. So totally optional. I just think it kind of completes the card. Plus another, look at all these little small scraps you can use up from your scrap drawers. All right, and we'll stamp on that in a little bit here. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and attach my pattern paper, but my cardstock I am going to wait because I do like to do my stamping first before I adhere it onto the card, and that's only because as you get going you're building up some, you know, some bulk underneath here, and so when you go to stamp it'll be a little bit even. So I'm going to hold on to this piece. I will decorate later off screen, and at the end I'll show a picture of the completed card. So again, last night I was busy die cutting all my little pieces, and so on this one I actually put, and I let it sit overnight, I put some of that liquid glue that dries clear, so it kind of gives it that glass look. And then these are some of the, I had done some embellishments, and this is that glimmer paper that's out of the main catalog. You get like 5 sheets of it. It's super, super pretty. So I've already kind of assembled it. I've got some dimensionals on here. So then the rest of this, I'm just going to glue down. And then, like I said, I'll come back and I'll finish stamping my greeting on that white paper. Okay, so that one's down. So that's your view 2. And then we go to view 3. Now remember, from view 3, you still can see stuff on the side. So this is where a lot of times I will take an image and I will die cut it in half, or cut it in half, sorry. But you can decorate. There are some little pieces here. And again, these are optional. You don't have to decorate these, but if you do, those are going to be, you'll need 4 of them, and these are 1 by 1.5. And again, we already adhered our 2 rectangle centerpieces that were 2 1/4 by 3 1/4. So I'm going to go ahead and attach these little ones that are 1 by 1.5, and these are going to be my top. So this is the back side of the hot air balloon paper. This is just the rainbow stripes. And again, paying attention to your rainbow colors as you're cutting. So notice I'm still continuing those colors across. So that's another to say. Just remember, as you cut, you want to pay attention to your pattern paper direction. And I got a little bit of adhesive on here, so we'll just, I don't know what I did there. And this is just a little adhesive remover. Okay, now for my centerpiece, I was thinking about taking, I was going to show you how I cut stuff in half. I was going to put that there, or maybe I would do, or I could just leave it. Maybe I will. I think I'll just do some of these hearts here. I don't know. I feel like that gets a little lost. So I am going to instead just stamp directly on, and I'm wondering if I should change this to white. Let's see here. I did die cut a bunch, and these are from the Everyday Essential dies. Yeah, I think I'll change it. I'm just going to stamp on here, and I'm going to do, let's see here. I'm going to do You're the Cherry on top from that Share a Milkshake. And my color, I think we will just do it in the, I'm going to do Lost Lagoon so it shows up just a little bit better. So again, I just like using my foam mat when I'm stamping with photopolymer. that. Okay, then so I'm going to only put tape on one half of this. And then I just freehand cut it with my scissors. Just right along that edge. And then that way, on this piece, I will adhere it so it's right on the edge of the cardstock, not the designer series paper. So you want it because you want to be able to have that still be continued across when you're looking at it. So there, you know, it's together and now it's broken apart. And then for these, I am going to do a little bit of these hearts. So these are from the Share a Milkshake. And this is that glimmer paper. Knowing that you are going to see these from this view. So a lot of times I'll just close it and go back to my view 2 just so that I can see better of what's going to show up and what isn't. And then I'll just do one more of these hearts. And I may come back and decorate something more with the cherries, but for now, we'll just leave it as is. Put these into my stash. All right, so there's view 3, and then view 4. This one, again, you will need those two. Again, it can be pattern paper or cardstock or a combination or both, you know, whatever you want to do. Those pieces, again, were 2 1/4 by 3 1/4. Then for these panels, you will need 4 of them. And these are going to be 1 by 3 1/4. So we'll go ahead and attach these. I'm just seeing how I cut these. I think on this one I think it doesn't matter because I was using 2 different sheets of paper. So we'll do something like that, I think. There we go. Go ahead. So again, this is the back side of that other paper that we had used previously. And I'll wait and attach my cardstock panel until I know what I'm putting on there. But I'll go ahead and attach my rainbow pattern at the top. And again, my cardstock, the 2 pieces, the colors I used, this is Pool Party, and then the other one I did was the Fresh Freesia, both from the pastel or the subtle family. All right, and then finally, my last little milkshake I had put together. So I did the crumb cake, lemon lolly, and then Pool Party and Lost Lagoon layered together. And I just put my little straws in. Those are Flirty Flamingo. I used some of the embellishments from the mini catalog. These are the adhesive rainbow dots. Look like little candies. So I've got those on there, and then I added a little heart. So again, I'm going to use some tear and tape just because this is a little bit bulkier die cut because there's lots of layers. So we'll just put some of the tear and tape on there just to hold it together better. Whoops, got a little long there. All right, and then this one, I'm going to put a little bit of glue on my straws so they're held down. We'll go at the top. There we go. All right, and then like I said, I'm going to decorate these later and assemble it, but then there's view 4 and then back to view 1. So we've got 1, 2, we'll stamp that later, 3, 4, and again, we'll stamp our greeting later, and then back to the front. So that is the A7 size that fits into your A7 envelope, which is like a 5x7 envelope. And these, you know, I purchased, I think I got these off of Amazon, my A7 envelopes, but again, that'll fit right inside the A7. There we go. And then there's no extra postage on that. And I'm still, I think weight-wise, might be, we'll see. You know me. I usually add extra postage on my stuff just because I do add a lot of bulk. But that's the A7. So I'm going to quick show you the 5x5 size. So again, this is that 5x5. So when you look at it, you know, it's just 2 inches shorter than the other one. But I'm still fitting it into that A7 envelope. So for this one, you will need 5x5, 2 sheets of cardstock, okay? And on this one, let's see here, where did my... Sorry, I'm just looking for my... Oh, where did it go? I thought I had my little cheat sheet of the 5x5 one. Oh, it's right in front of me. Oh my goodness, Linda. Oh, I tell you. Okay. So again, for this one, you're going to take, and I'll go through it this time with you. So you're going to decide what's going to be your bottom. And you'll decide what color will be your top. So again, these were the 5x5. So for this one, I think I'm going to do... I think I'm going to do my Lagoon as my top one, if I remembered correctly. Yeah, I'm going to do this as my... No, actually, I think I will do this as the bottom and this one as the top. Okay, so my Lagoon is going to be the bottom. My Bubble Bath is going to be my top pieces. So again, these are 5x5. You want to cut it, so since this is a square, it doesn't really matter which way, if you cut it horizontally or vertically, because it's a square. But you just want to make sure you're cutting it in half. So half of 5 is 2.5. So we are just going to cut both of these pieces so that they measure 2.5 by 5. Then we're going to score them so that your bottom piece, your score lines are going this way. So then I'm going to do this one as my bottom. So my score lines are going to go at 1 1/4 from each end. So we're going to do 1 1/4, and then I just flip it around and I do 1 1/4 again. And you do that on both pieces. So 1 1/4, rotate it, 1 1/4. So those are my bottom pieces. My top pieces, we're going to score again at 1 1/4 by 1 1/4 from each end. So they're going to look the same, but with the way you lay it out, it's a little bit different. So like I said, because this is a square, it's a little bit easier because you're not having to worry about, oh, which am I scoring or cutting it the right way. So, but again, you're just doing that 1 1/4 and 1 1/4. All right, so I wanted this Lagoon to be my bottom. So again, when we go to put these together, we only want to have the adhesive on those 4 corners when you're looking at it as a square. So if this is my bottom, and again, I tend to, just to make it easier so it's not shifting around on me, I just use some low-tack tape just to hold that in place. And then on this one, I know for my adhesive, I can only have it be, you know, just, you know, basically 1.25 inches. But before you do that, make sure, I forgot, I was going to tell you, you need to fold these. Fold these together. And those will come in. Just kind of work both ends. So fold first, and then you can go ahead and temporarily adhere those 2 pieces together so it makes it a little bit easier. So again, bring these together. Making sure everything's aligned, and then fold it back. Oh, looks like I need to sharpen that blade again. Yeah, on my paper cutters with the slice and dice is what I call them. But to sharpen them, you just have to cut them with some aluminum foil over and over again, like the heavy duty aluminum foil. You do that like several times, and then that does help sharpen the guillotine blades. All right. So now we're going to put our adhesive on the bottom pieces. So I line these up, making sure that I know I can only go to right about here, and then stopping at that score line. So we'll do that on both of these sides, or each of the top 2 corners here. And then again, you're going to do the bottom 2 corners. Same thing, making sure you're not going too far down with your tape. All right, then again, we're going to make the sandwich. We're going to put our bubble bath cardstock on top. Making sure you are aligning. Boy, where's my deal? Okay, so I'm lining this up so it is to the side and to the top. That looks good. And then we'll remove the adhesive on these bottom pieces. And I said, it doesn't matter which side you start, you know, whether it's the left or the right, either one. Either one works. And then, so this one, it looks like I did get off a little bit, so I may need to trim my lagoon piece. There we go. Yep, I gotta trim that lagoon. Then this comes in. Yeah, so I'm gonna do that really quick here. We're just gonna trim this just a titch. Yes, I'm just barely, it's like a thread, taking that off. Okay, now go ahead and attach the other top piece. And again, making sure you're matched up in the center, you're matched up on the side and on the edge. Okay, and then we'll remove this last one. All right, so everything Looks good. Oh, I need to take this off because we don't need that help holding it together anymore. All right, so that's the front. Here is view 2. So this is where I kind of then go back with my bone folder just to sharpen those creases. And then here is going to be view 3. And then here is view 4, or what I call the back. And then we go back to view 1. So for your panels, this one, you will need, let's see, did I write these down? Oh yeah, here. The 4 little rectangles, you're going to need 4 of those, and those are 1 by 2 1/4. And then you will need 2 squares that are 2 1/4 by 2 1/4. So like I said, I am using that, there's that shimmer paper. So this is that, I think it's like Fresh Freesia, kind of a bubble bath combination, but I'm going to put each of these in the 4 corners. And then I'll do my 2 squares. So these are both 2 1/4 by 2 1/4. And did I have... Just seeing if there was a... I don't think there was on this one. It might have been 2 different sheets of paper, so I don't think it's going to matter too much. Yeah, we'll just do it this way. Yeah, because I think I ran out of, I used up the 1 sheet on that other card, so I had to use the 2nd sheet for this one. All right, so we got that in there. All right, that's my front. Then from view 2, so again, in view 2, you are going to see that 2 1/4 by 2 1/4 from view 3. But basically for your view 2, you're going to need 4 1 by 1 squares for each of the corners, and then either cardstock or designer series paper or a combination or both, whatever. And those again are going to be 2 1/4 by 2 1/4. So that's view 2. And so for this one, I'm using the Lost Lagoon from that little shimmer paper. So I'm going to put each of these in the corners. And again, you don't have to decorate these little 4 corners. I just tend to do them just because you can see them. And then these are going to be my 2 1/4 by 2 1/4. So again, I'm kind of paying attention to my pattern paper when I cut it. So these I'm doing both pattern paper. I'm not going to, I may stamp, but I don't know yet. This one I'm just assembling for you guys. I'll decorate it off screen later, and then I'll share the finished card at the end of this video. As I said, I'm going to put these, I don't know, maybe I didn't tell you this, but I will make the directions and do a PDF. So if you join my Facebook group page, Stampin' with the VIP Houndz, that's where you'll be able to find the PDF with all of the directions, you know, the cutting for each of the, and the measurements for everything. So we'll do that. And then my card club that meets in person, we'll be doing this fun fold at a future class. So if you're in the Twin City area, I'm in Woodbury, Minnesota. Yeah, if you want to join my classes, you can just visit my Stampin' Up website, lschmitt.stampinup.net, and that is where my class schedule is listed. So view 3, again, you're going to see this pattern from that previous view. So these are going to be 2¼ by 2¼ so you need 2 of them, and then again you're going to need 4 of those 1 by 1 squares. So again, I'm using that bubble bath, that shimmer paper. So let's put these down. And then also, if you're new to my channel, be sure you like and subscribe and hit the notification so that you get notified when I upload tutorials. I try and do them a few times a month. I work another job. I work a full-time job. Plus, I volunteer with my Greyhound group, and then spend time with friends and family. And oh my gosh, there's just never enough hours in the day. And then I'm trying on top of this, and then do the Stampin' Up stuff. But it's all good. I do love crafting and sharing projects with people. All right, I think there we go. So then this is going to go here. And then here I was thinking I may attach that. So this is from that Everyday Detail die. And so this die basically is just cutting the holes in the cardstock. It doesn't cut out, the diamonds, but it's just cutting out those holes, which I thought was kind of a neat texture that you can add to your cards. So this one, it was 5 inches across, which I think that will work just fine. So again, I'm only going to tape the one side down, because then I'll cut it. Let's see, how far over can I go? I can go to this one. So I'm aligning this so that it is to the edge of that cardstock. Oops. It's hard working from this angle. There we go. All right, we'll just make sure that's glued down. And then I'm going to open it up. And then this is where I just freehand cut it off with my scissors. All right, and then go ahead and glue this one down on the other side. And again, this is totally optional. I just hadn't used this die yet, and so I wanted to try it out. All right, and then I just make sure this is lined up on the edge and that it's straight. And then it's keeping with that pattern from the pattern paper, which is kind of fun too. So there's view 3, and then the final view is your back. So on this one, again, you're going to need 2 of those 2¼ by 2¼ and again, this can be cardstock or designer series paper. And then you'll need 4 of the 1 by 2¼ So this one is a lot easier, I think, and the 5 by 7 one when it comes to your cutting dimensions and the sizes. So this will be my view 4. And so again, on this one, I'm going to hold off on attaching my cardstock until later, because I want to make sure I stamp on that before I adhere it to the card. Just because, like I said before, that might be empty, it does get a little bulky. Or not bulky, yeah, bulky when you're trying to stamp, because you're not on a flat surface anymore once you have all these layers put together. So I'll do this one at the top. And then my polka dots, which I think mess with that one. So we're going to do these. Oh, I cut these too long. Whoops, what am I thinking? These need to be 2 1/4. Did I have that written down wrong on this one? I hope I didn't. 1 by 2 1/4. Yeah, that's right. I just cut mine wrong. I was probably cutting it for the 5 by 7 one, because these are probably 3 1/4. So let me trim these down so that they're 2 1/4 here. Right? Yeah, because that needs to be. What did I do here? Oh yeah, those are 3 1/4. But yeah, these need to be the 2 1/4. All right. There's one. 2 1/4. And 2 1/4. All right, try that again. And then this is the last month of Stampin' Up's celebration. So this is where you earn free product for every $50 that you spend in the US. And they just added some additional items that you can select for free. And what they've done is they've pulled like some of the product like from the annual catalog that you can get free. Like there's a couple stamp sets. There's like a bunch of, I think there's some new like note cards that are new. They're not in the cat. I don't think they're in the catalog. I think they're just new. And then there was like some other embellishments. I remember. Oh, there's markers. You can get a set of markers. Now that one I know is like you have to do a $100 order, but you can get a set of the Stampin' Right markers. I think they're all of the new colors that just we came out with or brought back. So you can get a whole set of those for free, which is awesome. But again, that ends this month. So February 28th, 2024. So make sure you get those in. And again, this is at 2 1/4, which I'll stamp on there. So again, there's the 5 by 5 one. Super easy. Great way to use up your pattern paper and your cardstock scraps. I will decorate this and share the finished product with you later. But again, thanks again for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this fun fold. So make sure to give me a comment if you liked it. 2 thumbs up, like and share. And I will create and stamp with you again. Thanks again for watching. Bye-bye.